Hi, guys. Welcome to the Chelsea Skidmore Show. I'm here today with my guests, writers, directors, actors, Don Luebbe.
Yes.
Fuck, did I say it?
No, that was perfect.
Right. Don Luebbe and Jocelyn DeBoer.
DeBoer, yes. We did something really mean to Chelsea, which is explain all the ways in which people mispronounce our names right before you had to pronounce them.
I'm so sorry.
I got really well, all things considered.
Yeah.
I got anxiety about it before.
No, yeah. No one mispronounces your name, I bet.
Chelsea Skidmore.
It's
Yeah.
right? It's perfect. Yeah.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
Some people say Chelsea or Chauncey. I'm like,
No.
that's not even my
Really?
name.
No.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Do people... Well, people do that with your
we
last
get all
name.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Jocelyn or something.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
That's no one's name.
No, yeah. I know. I
It's
get
not
that
a
a
name.
lot. Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm so excited to have you guys on. Recently, you guys had your amazing movie Greener Grass come out,
Thank you.
and I loved it. It's so one of those movies that I feel like you don't see movies like that anymore all around. Like, it reminds me of the movies I liked growing up. So, you know what I mean?
That's
Just like
so nice of you to say that.
kind of like a Todd Solondz, even though not the same subject matter, but with the
Thank
tone.
you. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We would aspire. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Welcome to the Dollhouse was very fundamental in my like teenage years as something that both disturbed me and delighted me in equal parts.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So what was the type of movies growing up that, you know, besides Welcome to the Dollhouse that you guys liked and that you guys thought, or I guess even how it's two-part question, how you would describe like the tone of this as you were explaining it to people to be involved in it?
Oh yeah. We had a short film which was also called Greener Grass, took place in the same world. So I feel like we kind of got off easy in terms of needing to really pitch it to people. We were like, it's based off this short and you can feel the tone. But yeah, I would say we get compared to Lynch, you know, a fair amount, and that is completely accurate because we were watching Twin Peaks when we started working on Greener Grass. So we're like, that's a great comparison. We both love John Waters, and so very much like that's an inspiration.
Anytime someone compares us to John Waters, we're just so humbled and excited by that.
Yeah.
Do you love Serial Mom?
Yes.
That's
love
like one of my
Serial Mom.
favorite movies that I feel like so many people haven't seen.
It's so fantastic.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like our generation, we love that movie.
I know.
That was like my introduction to John Waters.
Yeah,
really.
that and Hairspray, I feel like were the two I watched, you know, a handful of times growing up, and then it was like Polyester later in my adulthood.
Yeah.
And Pink Flamingo, some of those other ones that I got more into discovered as an adult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my friend last night who I was with who saw your movie said that the beginning reminded him of the beginning of Blue Velvet
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah. I
and
love
Black
that
Hole
movie.
Sun. My husband was
yes.
saying we were all together last night. We had all seen like they saw parts of it. And
Yeah.
yeah. Do a lot of people compare it to?
We do hear that. Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the colors are like what, like the aesthetic. Everything is so detail oriented and. Like the acting was so incredible, just all around. Like every single box was checked off,
Oh,
and I
that's
just
so nice.
yeah, and I just like there was probably so much that you guys like. I can't even imagine what it was like when you were working on it, just to like check off like every single. You know, it seems like there was a lot of attention in so many different places. Like, how did you guys manage that?
Oh, we
Or what
have
was it like? Yeah.
trouble like. We sweat everything, and it's like a disease that we have. Like we need to be like, it doesn't matter if like the napkins aren't folded correctly on the table. Like there's so many bigger things to worry about. But I feel like we're learning as you know our filmmaking careers, developing that. Like, but we're hyper like about everything. But thank you for saying that.
That's so nice. I feel like we were really lucky with Greener Grass in that as much of like perfectionists as we are, our production designer Lee Poindexter and our costume designer Lauren Oppolt were like equal parts perfectionists and so focused on every detail and making sure it was right for the character and right for the world.
We
we really lucked out in both of those collaborations.
We learned, so we made 3 short films together before we made this feature, and we kind of learned the personality types that we get along well with, and that's like very intense perfectionism.
Yes.
So we're like, that's who we need. It's so funny because a lot of production designers, for example, are super laid back and they're fantastic at their jobs, but we're like, that energy doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah.
feeling of someone not caring. Like, you know, when
Yeah.
someone, not that they're not caring, but even just like, you know, when you ask someone to take a picture and you could tell you're like, we didn't get it. Because they're not like, they just don't care. Like, certain people have like, if you're moving around when you're just taking a casual picture of a stranger and getting the right shot and like setting, then you're like, oh, that person's good. Like,
Yes.
but
That's
some people
the
don't
perfect
even,
litmus test. Yes.
Yeah.
they don't even focus the image and you're like,
It's just, yeah, no
Or they
1,
don't
2,
wanna
3
look
cheese.
at it, see how that compares a moment later. or like,
Yeah.
I hate when people only take one picture.
No.
I know.
Like,
It's
it's digital. Just take a
Yeah.
handful.
yeah.
let's do a shoot like
Yeah.
while we're here. Yeah. Did you work with the same costume and production designer on your shorts as well?
Our costume designer we had worked with before, and then our production designer, Lee Poindexter, is best friends with our costume designer. So we hadn't worked with Lee before, but they very much trusted each other. And in fact, during the shoot, most of us lived in a hotel down in Georgia, and they insisted on living in an Airbnb together so they could build out like the sets and the costumes in tandem. And it's just such a gift.
Oh
for
my
our
God.
production.
Were you not
Yeah.
so excited over that?
Oh, we were so
was,
excited.
yeah.
It was, and going to that house was like a dream. It was just like, I don't know, like a floral couch threw up, all over the house. It just looked like.
That's so
yeah.
fun. No, I was wondering where it was. Yeah, I was wondering where it was filmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
It
in
was-
Georgia?
It was a suburb of Atlanta called Peachtree City. It's
So cute.
Also known as the golf cart capital of the world, which
Yes.
was perfect for our movie.
Yeah, was that taken into consideration, knowing like there was gonna? Yeah, I mean, I guess you can get a golf cart anywhere,
Yeah.
but like people primarily or only get around on golf carts in your world.
Right, it's only golf carts. Well, we hate to admit this, but it's true. The golf carts weren't in the script originally.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of car was originally in it?
They're like, kind of like mom SUVs, and Lisa drove a big blue conversion van. It was like
a
old.
big old clunker.
What is
yeah.
a conversion van?
Like not a minivan, but like a box van. Like a
Okay.
lot of families had them in the 90s. And
Yeah.
things.
I think I
Both
know.
of our families did.
Yeah, we're like, this is what moms drive and dads drive, right?
And so, we were looking for a location, and we were working with a production company that had another feature shooting in Georgia at the same time, and they were like, if you both shoot in Georgia, you can bundle for the tax credit. And so we were looking all over Georgia, and we were like, nothing quite works. We didn't want it to be very specific in terms of like, oh, you can tell this is the South. You can tell the, palm trees or whatever. And then we were basically like, Georgia isn't going to work. And our producer was like, okay, that's fine. And we were like, but just where is the other film shooting, just so we know? And she was like, Peachtree City. And we just Googled it, and that's when we saw on Google the golf cart capital of the world. And we were like, wait a second, golf carts would be so perfect for this world.
Yeah.
We love the symbolism of them, that like you can't go very far on a golf cart. So it's like these people, they don't have like a mode of transportation out of this bubble that they live in, and how much it's like you live your life in a fishbowl in a golf cart. Because there's no walls, and it's very like so many things about them. We were like, this is perfect.
And when we started reading more about Peachtree City, it was this planned community from the 1950s. There was over 100 miles of paved golf cart tracks.
And it was for young families, like not meant for old people. They went to like the elementary school, the grocery store. Like
Everyone rides around on a golf
Yes.
cart there?
Yes,
Yes.
every parking lot has golf cart parking, and most of the parking lots are filled with golf carts.
Yes.
And there's a parking lot.
Isn't that wild?
That's so cool.
Yeah, there's a parking lot scene in our movie, and we just shot it at the high school on a school day because it's this parking lot filled with 700 golf carts. And we're like, well, this is a production dream.
Yeah, that's a trip. Was there a lot of like happy accidents like that in the area that you were in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah, the style of homes was exactly kind of the look we wanted, or it was easy to find.
And the people were so generous with their time and being willing to be extras in the movie and offering up. Like, one of the women we met while scouting a location that we didn't end up using was like, I coach the cheerleading team. Do you want to use the cheerleaders? And we were like, yes, please. Of course we'll use the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Like just little things like that where I feel like we got more production value than we necessarily should have because of people's generosity, and just that location ended up being great.
Yeah. So so there's so much, like, I feel like I need to move also like chronologically and step back a little bit. So first of all, where are you guys both from? And then how did you meet, and how did your writing relationship develop?
We're both Midwestern girls. I grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska.
And I'm from a suburb of Chicago.
And we both lived in New York for a while. And we met. We were put on a house sketch team at the UCB Theater
In New York?
In New York.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You took classes there.
Yeah, I
which is
did.
what was
I
hearing.
did.
Yeah.
With Chelsea Clark.
Yeah, I love
fuck.
Chelsea Clark.
Gavin Spieler.
Yes,
And
and
there-
Ben Rogers. I just know
Yes!
because I listened to your
Wait.
episode with Will Hunt.
Wait, do you remember Ben? He was so hot.
Ben is a friend of ours. Yeah. Oh,
I remember him. I was like obsessed with him. He was so
Yeah.
hot. I have no idea what he looks like now, but I remember this was in 2011.
he's still very
I
attractive.
feel like
yeah.
he was like the UCB heartthrob.
He really, he still is. And he's now like a hot single man with an adorable dog that he adopted. And he takes that dog to agility training like every weekend. And it's just,
I have to see what he looks like now. I remember he would call me out in class and be like, and I didn't even know I was staring. Like, when I had no idea. I must have been staring at him, and he kept being like, why do you keep looking at me in front of everyone, like calling me out?
I can't believe he would call you out.
It
for
was
that.
so embarrassing. He would all the time. He was like, can you stop? And I was like,
well, I feel like it's hard. Was this a weird thing to say? Well, I feel like if a teacher is even reasonably like semi-passable as an attractive man, from the earliest of ages would have a crush on them. Like most people will have crushes on their teachers. But then to have a teacher who's not only attractive but like a smoke show is unfair. Because you're
especially
like so funny and smart.
who cares about that, Dawn? No, it's true.
yeah, I'm sure he's all those things. No.
Yeah.
He's fine. No, it's just
He had that like hot vampire look.
Right?
Does he still?
Yeah. No, he gets
don't
more
know.
sun in LA. No, I don't know. Yeah.
So you
That's so
both
funny.
ended up at UCB. Were you taking classes together, or were you already on a team at that point?
They put us on a team together. Is how I was on the team for just a little bit before we lost a member, and then two of the people on it. Thank you. Yeah, sorry to their family. No, a couple of people on the team were like, we need to get Dawn Luebbe, and I was like, who is this woman? And Dawn was actually working a finance job in San Francisco at the time, which was especially funny that she got pulled onto a house team at UCB.
I know. I had done UCB for years and did a lot of. I'd say in New York, like when I was first there, I focused more on like doing plays off Broadway, off Broadway, and I like definitely like dipped my toe/leg into UCB, and like did a lot of classes there and stuff.
I
but
dipped my leg.
I was
Is that
gonna
a
say toe,
thing?
but it was like a long time at UCB. But then at some point I was like, what am I gonna just like? At some point I want to like not live behind a bookshelf with 4 roommates, which was my living
Yeah, because you would
situation.
divide.
We all did it,
Dividing
right?
like walls with bookshelves
Yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
and
I
the
lived
fake
in
wall.
the common room
Yeah.
behind a bookshelf.
Yeah, I know
and-
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Didn't they often have like a window at the top of them to try to get a small amount of light into the living
Yeah,
room?
I mean,
Like-
ours was just a living room that we put up an IKEA bookshelf. And
Oh,
then I
it
put my
wasn't like
bed
a
on
fake
the other
wall.
side
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah.
I think we couldn't afford the $900 installation of the wall.
Fair.
Anyway, I
Most
was
people
doing
didn't afford the
great.
wall. Most
No,
people
that's
just did the
true.
bookshelf.
I'm sure my
Yeah.
mom paid for my wall.
So anyway, I was like, I had an opportunity at my day job to kind of take on a bigger role in our San Francisco office, and I was had been in New York for a while and was interested in living in another place. So long story short, I moved there and then was back in New York for a month or so to kind of like get my stuff, and like was having brunch with a couple friends of ours who were on the sketch team, and they said, do you still do comedy? Are you doing that at all? There's a spot on our team, Onassis, and we really want to pitch you for that. But before we did that, we wanted to see if you would even be interested. And I just like dropped everything and said, yes, like if there is any world in which I could get on that team, because this specific team, I feel like this sounds so arrogant, but I feel like it was like the hot, cool sketch
Yes.
team to be on.
Yes. I also
And so I was like, it's not just any team. And so, yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure all the sound. I normally listen to the headphones, and I
Oh,
got
yeah.
anxious and was just checking to make sure. You know,
Does
I
it
thought you
sound
were
okay?
like an
tired of
OCD
listening.
thing.
You're like,
No, well, sometimes when people go away, but the volume is fine.
yeah.
I
Oh,
just
good.
Kind of forget
Yes.
that we're recording.
How long of a break though had taken from, or were you just like dipping in and out along the time of being in San Francisco? Like, was there a chunk of time that?
I was sort of like going out to San Francisco for a trial, couple months, and then the plan was to like come back to New York, pack up everything, and then move back there for real like a month later. So it had been maybe 3 months that I was like totally out of the comedy scene.
Yeah.
Have
And
you
I
been?
missed it.
Yeah. Have you been like a direct line, like wanting to do stand up, or did you kind of go back and forth in that?
Well, I had always wanted to do stand up, but I was afraid to just do it for some reason. Just like living in fear kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I started with UCB, and I was doing that, but then at the same time I started doing like open mics. So then I did UCB 101, 201, 301 at the 401. I mean at the 301 show. Some guy like yelled at me just
hate
because
that
I
story.
didn't.
Yes.
I didn't like. I just like wasn't like it was some Batman Robin like thing. I still remember it to this day. It was in 2011 what it was over, and I just like didn't get it what was going on. So I was like faking it till I make it kind of thing. And he just got mad at me and yelled at me after. Some like
So
weird guy
obnoxious.
who I was in the scene with. And then for some reason, just where I was at then, like it shook me, and I was just
Yeah.
like, fuck this place. And I was like, I want to do Groundlings instead. So then I moved out here and did Groundlings, and then I was like, I just like stand up better.
Oh, right, interesting. Yeah.
So then I just stayed with that because I just feel like you have to choose one. I know a lot of people do both, but for me specifically, like since it was early development, I was like, I need to like put everything into stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like guys like that, or just people in general
Uh-huh.
that do things like that. I'm always like, have you never been on a team? Like, have you
Yeah.
never like
Right.
done anything in which like you were that behavior was checked? Like, it's such a bizarre thing to be an adult and think it's an okay thing to do that.
But I was like 23, so like I just had really low self-esteem then, and I just like let it. Like I look back now and I'm like, oh, today I would never let something like that affect me. I'd be like, what a loser. You know, or I'd probably like talk about it all night to like a friend, and then I would just get back into like class the next when it was starting up again.
right.
Sort of thing. But like
It's
it's
like-
all good because
Yeah.
I'm like in the right place where I am now and stuff.
We think you should be doing improv.
I liked improv. I did. I don't know. I just like followed along with like what I wanted to do the most.
Yeah,
sort of
oh,
thing.
that's so good.
I feel
Yeah.
like improv is like singing or something too. I'm not great at either, but I feel like it's something where you are just so vulnerable up there, and to have someone just tear you down, like I don't know, it seems so cruel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you guys have
Yeah.
anyone like that? Any experiences like that? Like in your process of like creating stuff?
Oh, that's such a good
I was like
question.
finding the question.
I mean, the first thing that
But you
comes
know
to
what I
mind
meant.
are like, there's always like microaggressions.
Mhm.
I feel like where
Yeah.
you, like a competitive thing, but I would say at UCB, I think those things exist the most at the earlier levels when people are more like scared and before they understand how collaborative it needs to be, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think in our film world. So Don and I, we made 3 short films and then traveled around to film festivals, which is its own social.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
all that on your Instagrams. I didn't know if that was for the short or for the feature.
You probably saw it for the feature, but we were doing it before and not posting as much.
So what were the shorts that first I need to like cross the bridge first of how you guys okay, so you were on the team together.
Yeah.
And then like how did you guys decide to start working together outside of the team?
Oh yeah. So our team got graduated after about 4 years, and I moved out to LA, and Dawn moved out a bit after, and we were the only people from our sketch team there, and we just started hanging out quite a bit. In fact, we were going to the LA Fitness on El Centro for like hours every morning.
Hours?
Yes, this
How
is
do you
bizarre.
keep up the energy going to the gym for
We were
hours?
not working out. What we
Yeah.
did is we
honestly never been more out of shape than that period of my
yes.
life.
So I lived near there, and Dawn would come over, and we would drink coffee and eat avocado toast
Yeah.
for like an hour and a half. And
Gotta
then-
prepare to
How do you make your avocado toast?
We would kind of like guacamole, I guess, like mash an avocado in a bowl, and then put like a huge helping of salsa, sriracha,
Yeah.
Salt and
And
pepper.
then mix that all up.
lime if you have it.
Yeah. Fancy days. But we'd put it on toasted sourdough.
Sourdough, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we do sriracha dots.
Oh.
I made that recently for my mom and my sister, and
How
they were
was
like, "This is the best avocado toast I've ever had," and I was like missing our days of the gym.
Wow. Yeah, because I feel like
Yeah.
everyone makes it differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ours were such huge helpings too, because the sourdough, it comes in like a round, and we would always start from the middle.
Yes.
And they would be such huge helpings. So sometimes we arrived at the gym quite uncomfortable.
Right?
So we were
Yeah.
so full.
You're like, how are we going to work out?
Yeah, and what we did is we recorded episodes of Twin Peaks on our iPads, and we would stand on treadmills next to each other and go 1, 2, 3, and play it at the same time, and then walk for like 48 minutes, an hour,
A slow walk.
a very slow pace.
That's so fun. All
we
of
were
our
far too full to be running.
yeah.
We would always have to stop in the middle and go to the bathroom too. So we had to like find the exact same time to start it up again when we got back from the bathroom, where there was always a woman cutting her toenails in the sink.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so this was like a year or more.
So it's just working out and
Yeah.
toast.
Yeah, it
It was-
started out watching Dance Moms too, I should say.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think we watched every season and every episode of Dance Moms, and then we were like, we should do something more productive. And so neither of us had seen Twin Peaks, so we did that.
Yeah. And at some point, I think after months of doing this, we were like, we're spending a lot of our lives eating avocado toast and walking slowly on a treadmill. Maybe we should use this time to do something a little more productive.
We were trying to like think of something that we were like, well, I mean, are we just gonna bank on getting jobs as actors? Like it was kind of
Right.
slow. And then these 2 girls in our community, like much younger than us in improv, Ashley Skidmore and Lyle Friedman.
I didn't know there was.
Yeah.
Who is she?
They made this web series, which a lot of people were doing at the time, but
Yeah, what year was this?
2015
Okay.
probably. And it was called Hot Mess Moves. And they were these 30-second episodes that at the time we were all on Facebook, you'd just like be scrolling and be like, oh, hot mess moves. And we would always say like we'd watch them because they were so short. And they were just clever, but so simple, like so simple to shoot. And we were talking to Lyle and Ashley at a birthday party, and they were like, we just got hired to write for television. And we were like, what? How? Like, how does that happen? And they were like, someone saw Hot Mess Moves. And we got hired, and we were like, oh. And that's when we thought we should make something. So they really inspired us. And that's when we kind of came up with the idea for Greener Grass. Thinking
so that was the first short.
That was the first short. We thought it would be really simple because we were like, we'll just be on bleachers. We can play two moms, and it was gonna be a web series where they were like under a minute, and it was just excruciatingly normal, like everything neutral, so normal, and then one really unusual thing happened in each of them. That was it.
So. Did you make that web series? No.
So
what was the short?
Truly,
I wish I saw it.
It's okay. Yeah.
Is it online?
It's on Vimeo.
I meant to ask you guys.
The feature is better than you watch that.
I still do want to watch it, but so you started with that one first.
Yes.
I put also one of the questions that I put, like, when I have guests coming on, I'll put like, does anyone have a question? And a friend of mine had two questions, and one of them was, how did you decide to make Greener Grass the feature out of the 3 shorts that you made?
That's so nice. It kind of happened. Really, IFC had kind of approached our manager. So the short kind of did well on the festival circuit. And then IFC Television approached our manager and was like, oh, would the girls like to do a TV version of Greener Grass? Like, can they pitch that to us? And so we were like, oh, yeah. And we came up with a pitch. We pitched it to them. They bought it. And so it wasn't like we took it around or anything. It was just like that just happened.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
First time in Hollywood.
I was really excited.
So cool.
Yeah. And we had just the best experience working with our team over there, and like we really over the course of like 5 months or so, like developed this insane world of like 6 seasons of Greener Grass, and it was this like hyper ambitious, expensive, like we call it like the Game of Thrones of suburbia.
It was like ridiculous.
Wow. I love that.
And then IFC saw the script and they were like, we can't do this.
So what did they buy a pitch then?
They bought the pilot.
Oh, so
yeah. We wrote the pilot, and then
sorry, I got confused.
You do pitch. When we pitched 6 seasons, but we pitched like the first and second seasons very in depth, and then we were like, third season we see this, and
then when I'm just confused because when you just said then when they saw the script, so what script were you referring to?
The script was the pilot script, which you still saw like. These grand palaces where the governor lived, and this whole like there's this.
Like we won't go into detail.
Of a production for
we'll
TV.
Say
they were saying
the movie script I think was more appropriate.
I think it could be a TV show. It just IFC at that time didn't have the budget.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, and so they kind of passed on it. They were like, we can't do this right now, and. We were like, we can pitch it around. Like, we should pitch it to HBO and Amazon and blah, blah, blah. And then, but one of the things that kept coming up when you sell a pilot, you also have to do a legal contract, like a long form for if the show does go 6 seasons. And so you kind of like get into the nitty gritty of like, basically we knew they were going to bring on a showrunner and blah, blah, blah. And we were really scared of losing creative control.
Of course, yeah.
We were like, it's just a complicated.
It's very specific.
It's very specific. Yeah. And we hadn't really directed. We had directed one of our shorts. Okay. And the other 2 shorts we made, our friends directed them. And so we were like, they're not going to hire like brand new creators and let them direct and blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of what helped us decide to make it a feature. But
to have more creative control. So had you gone around to a bunch of pitch meetings then, and
we never did,
or is when you were trying to get a production company and showrunner at that point?
Basically, after it was clear IFC was not moving forward with it, between that and pitching it to other networks, we came to the decision to just make it as a movie and not make it as a TV show.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm just only asking because I'm about to start this process next
year.
Ask
us
everything. So I'm trying to just learn for myself at the same time.
Yes, please. I'm sure your listeners are doing things like that.
Yeah, totally. So you decided to do, and just to wrap up on that question, so you decided to do Green and Grass as a feature because that was like the one that got the most attention, essentially?
I think so, and it just kind of happened.
And is that the one that did you enter all of them into festivals, or and Green and Grass is the one that like kind of flourished?
I feel like that's probably true, and our other two. It's we always feel like the timing of them were hard because we made them the same year, and then basically we were applying to the big festivals right as Trump got put into office. And both of our movies are comedies. They're not really like that politically motivated, and it really, which we think is right and great, a lot of the big festival programs had more important movies.
Yeah.
Oh, really? But you would think it's the opposite, that people just want to like laugh and have fun.
You know, I think it was like that kind of, I don't know, November, etc., that it was like people were angry.
Yeah, and wanting to be, proactive and like, have a feature art that like really was a
social commentary message sort of thing.
And this is totally us. Maybe our shorts are like dog shit, and like we're
is
totally
we
wrong.
tell
We tell ourselves this, and they played more in like red states.
Oh, okay.
Which is true. Yeah. Like.
We're not proud. But anyway, so we always wonder, like, what would have, our other two shorts are called Buzz, and the one we directed is The Arrival. And so we're like, what would have happened to those if they came out, a different year?
They both had like a modest festival life, played at maybe a dozen festivals, but not, South by Southwest and.
But
so did the short originally go to? Where did the short originally go? Like the bigger
Greener Grass.
Yeah.
It premiered at. There's this festival that we always want to tell short filmmakers about. A lot of people know about it, perhaps, but it's the Clermont-Ferrand Film Festival, and it's kind of the Cannes of short films.
It's in France.
Okay, I saw that, and I was wondering what that one. So was that was for the short then?
Yes.
You guys have the most fun outfits, by the way. All of your outfits for every red carpet appearance you guys have is, and right now, obviously, in the movie, it's so fucking fun. Yeah, I'm surprised that I thought you guys would have worked in fashion first.
Oh my gosh, it is our dream to work in fashion. We're like trying to do so.
Yeah. Did you have that made?
No.
Did you?
This is a brand called Cincaset.
Cincaset.
Zara.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to say it my way.
Oh no,
the incorrect way.
No, that is right. Did you ever work in fashion?
No, but my dad did. Well, I worked in fashion PR briefly.
Okay, and your mom was like a supermodel, right?
Yeah, she was a model. My dad was the buyer for Barney's.
That's so rad.
Which is closing
awesome.
now.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Wild.
I know.
Is he retired though?
Yeah, he just writes screenplays.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. He's into like alien kind of stuff. He just like enters them into like contests and stuff. He's figuring it out. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's just like switching. Yeah, I think he always wanted to be a writer. He's kind of like a pseudo-intellectual dad type.
Yes,
You know
okay.
what I mean? Who thinks he's like Woody Allen.
Yes,
and, like,
okay.
So it's funny. Fuck the caps.
Okay.
So okay, and were your other shorts similar in tone, or were they all like pretty like separate?
I would say that like a little similar in tone. Both of them had kind of all three of our shorts take place in very different worlds. I would say, but there's kind of a dark comedy bend to all of them.
Like surreal, absurd kind of.
I would say The Arrival has like a bit of surrealism, but none more than Greener Grass.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
so what was like the whole like preparation that you guys went into, like when you decided that you decided let's make it a movie, what was like the start to like the first day of shooting? Like what was everything that you went through, and how did you guys get financing and gather all your resources and all of that stuff?
Well, it all happened very fast, which we're now learning is not typical. But basically when we had our 3 short films on the circuit, we went to festivals all over the place. And we made little postcards with our posters on them and labels of the screening times. And we talked to anyone who would listen, and just like trying to peddle our films and, you know, get people to come watch them. And it was through that we met so many people
Wow.
that ended up working on our feature. And, you know, we now have this like community of, you know, filmmakers from that. And we also met some investors that way. And
At the festivals?
like film festivals.
Okay.
Yeah, which is very common.
How do you know
Yeah.
who is a waste of time and who isn't?
Look at their shoes. No,
Was that a prepared answer
No,
for that
no.
question? 'Cause
That
that was-
really sounded like that.
But you
came
know what
with
I mean?
some-
Like, you're like, how do I know this guy is like legit and not just a fucking creep, or just not like a waste of time, not just like some dude who's talking?
That's such a
I like the
hard thing.
shoes
think
thing,
you-
but
I think
still.
you don't know for sure. But I
Yeah.
think at the festivals, a lot of the people we were talking to were like, oh, they produced this feature
That's a
or
good
financed this
point.
feature that
Mm.
was like dark and bonkers, and like we really like this. And they also have a music video at this festival that like they apparently have, you know, produced work that is at least getting into festivals.
It's such
and,
a
like,
small world.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
such a good point.
And they get
yeah.
it by like the other stuff.
Yeah.
And like for example, we would see short films we liked and then track down the directors. Like our short was in competition with Jim Cummings' short.
I don't know
Thunder
if you know
Road.
who that is.
He's
He's
yeah,
like a
he's-
kind of an indie darling
Okay.
director.
Damn.
Yeah.
And we saw the Thunder Road short at South by, and we're like, well,
Mhm.
this looks incredible. It was so funny. So we like tracked him down at a party and just, you know, chatted with him. And then a few months later, we needed a producer for a short, and we were like, well, Jim's short looked amazing, and it was low budget. Who was his producer?
Ooh, yeah.
And so we just, you know, reached out to him through Facebook, and
He
got
gave
it.
us the name of Natalie Metzger, who's the producer we now work with. Like, she did our first short we directed, and then also our feature. But yeah, it's so anyway, through that we ended up meeting someone who basically was like, I really want you guys to continue developing your voice and working together, and I will fund a feature film version of Greener Grass. And that was a long time before we actually did it, because the amount of money we got was quite small, but we're so
tell
grateful
because
for it.
it seemed like I couldn't tell if like a lot of if it was expensive or not to make.
Oh, that's so
okay.
nice. Thank you. It wasn't.
Wait, does that sound like I don't even know if that sounds bad.
No, it's
No,
good. That's what
the
we
I'm
want.
like,
nicest
I'm
thing
like,
you
oh,
could
I
say.
feel like I wasn't sure if all the outfits were like from vintage stores or
Right.
like thrift stores, like, or if they were like made and all the details.
It's such
like,
a combination.
I
of
couldn't,
that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
honestly like, because everything looks incredible. Like the coloring, everything is so vibrant. Like I was like, is that like an expensive color correction? Like I don't know how all of that worked. So I was so because it just looks it looks very good, very professional, very like crisp.
Oh,
I mean, so
that's
I didn't know. I'm like,
nice.
is that like so expensive? Like,
right,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I know that
and
sounds like a weird question.
Of course,
that's the
no.
nicest
But I'm
thing
not
you
try-
could
yeah.
say.
It's I also love like talking to other filmmakers about
Uh-huh.
that, because I think it definitely was Lee Poindexter, our production designer,
Uh-huh.
Lauren Oppold, our costume designer, Lowell Mayer, our DP. Like the way they all worked together,
Uh-huh.
they were able to make something we all were that
Mhm.
looks so much more expensive than it was. And I think it's a good thing for filmmakers to know that you can work in a formalist space without it.
What does that mean?
Like you can have this like heightened aesthetic
Oh.
without it being insanely expensive.
Okay, yeah. So like, where do you like spend the money, and where do you not, and like, what are the tricks
There
essentially?
Yeah.
I feel like 1 million creative solutions when you're
Okay.
told no, because we through making this, because we have like champagne tastes on a beer budget
Yeah.
that we like. For example, there was this one shot we wanted that was underwater, where like Beck Bennett who plays
Yeah.
Jill's husband is swimming around, and you see his head above the water, and then the camera's like halfway in, you see his like big floating body. He's not big, but in the water,
Yeah,
the distortion.
distortion.
Yes. And for a lot of reasons, symbolically, whatever, it was really important that we had this shot. And it was not in our budget to have an underwater camera. That was just not on the table. And we're like, well, we really need this. And so Lowell said, no problem. Looks up, gives the producer a link to a fish tank. We order a fish tank from Walmart that we like strip the camera and put the camera in a fish tank in this pool. And then we returned the fish tank.
Yes.
So it was free.
That's such a good idea.
Like so many little things like that. I would also say one of the big things is dressing to frame. So I think one thing our production designer was great at is paying attention to exactly where the frame is and not dressing a whole room.
Yeah.
Only like the wall. And she truly was like stripping off like vintage wallpaper from one wall, putting it on another. Then we turn the camera around. It's the same wallpaper. Like such like low
Like
budget.
perfecting a small space
Yes.
as opposed to worrying about, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and we learned that too, obviously, as directors, being like, oh, if we just frame a little this way, she doesn't have to dress deep into that room. And we kind of, you can get the most out of the art that way. And also planning your shots super carefully. So we try not to overshoot because, again, it's like every shot that you add costs more money. And so we don't just get a bunch of coverage and then try to figure it out in the edit. We're like, this is what we imagine in the edit. This is what we need to get. And we don't have the luxury of overshooting.
Yeah, so then did you do a lot of rehearsals or did you just
Also,
say, "We're doing it
rehearsals
twice
cost
and that's
money.
that"?
Yeah,
Really?
We couldn't. It wasn't in our budget to do
Damn,
rehearsals.
I didn't even know they
Yeah.
cost that money.
You can kind of like sneak rehearsals because you can do a blocking rehearsal with the
Right.
actors. And then we'd be like, okay, let's hear it again. We need a block again. Like... But we try to like sneak and like see what they're bringing, and then if we want to make any adjustments, we kind of do it in the makeup chair. And
Oh, yeah.
you
So
know.
one of the other questions was, what was your braces budget?
oh yeah,
And
It was our largest line item.
Was it really?
Yes.
So, yeah, how did that work? Were those actual, like, yeah. How did,
yeah, they're real
Yeah.
braces.
Uh-huh.
They're just built on basically an Invisalign. So we had to have all the actors come down like 2 days early to get fitted for their what's essentially
Like
an
a tray.
Invisalign. Yeah, and then Adam Bailey, our special effects artist, built the braces on top of it.
You couldn't even tell that was an Did they
I'm
get
so
rid of that in
glad.
post?
No.
They
Whoa,
were
I can
just
tell.
very
Sometimes.
well made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure because
Yeah.
you're looking for it. But
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, how are they wearing braces?
That's so good.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Did it hurt when you, okay, so when you cut them off, is it just cutting it off, obviously, the tray?
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't hurt. No.
Wow. I was like, that must have hurt so bad.
I feel like the only thing that hurt is like when I was wearing them all day, like the inside of my lip would get like chapped or something.
yeah.
Right,
like
right.
I feel
Like-
like we had like calloused, like our,
Yeah.
the inside of our mouths really toughened up. that
Yeah,
way.
yeah. But yeah.
When you were writing it, was there like, I feel like there's like so many different little things that happen. I guess like a couple of different B stories, would you
Yeah,
say?
yeah.
And I guess like, yeah, so just for the listener then, and then for me, what's like the easiest way to like pitch what it's about? Because I'd rather just hear you say it instead of me trying to find it.
Yeah. We say it's
Just
a
because there's so many like little sub parts.
sure. We
Yeah.
say it's a satire of suburbia in a surreal world. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
I
it's
was-
hard to pitch.
Yeah, I was wondering, the one part I couldn't wait to ask you, when they get the haircut and it's bleeding.
Yeah.
What did that mean?
Yeah, yeah. So for that part, we love the symbolism of that. I'm so glad you're asking about it. So our main character of Jill, who I play, has such an underdeveloped sense of self. Like her inner life is totally dictated by external things. And so when the worst thing in her world happens, she's got like her child is whatever, her situation. Then her and her husband get a divorce. She's at her emotional lowest. I know it. I feel like I want to laugh describing.
I was just sort of laughing about the bowling alley scene. Like, oh, should I?
Yeah. I'm like so seriously
I've
trying
been
to
that
present
person.
Oh,
so
haven't
many
we all? I
times.
know.
Yeah,
It's so wild.
Yeah, it's so when all of your friends are single, nothing more makes you question whether you should be. Or the same thing when all your friends are like
telling you.
together.
Yeah.
You want to be like, well, I really need a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look to people for decisions sometimes. And I'm like, okay, is this codependency? Like, what is it, like, psychologically?
Yeah, it's
Because I'm so
true.
indecisive sometimes. And I'm just like, oh, and I'm trying to, like, listen to myself. It's something I, like, have been talking about in therapy. But I was like, oh, my God, I so really, not to that extreme
No, of
sense,
course.
of course.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I thought that was, like, an interesting thing to touch on. Because I feel like a lot of women have that.
Oh, people make huge life decisions, like based on like what they think will make other people happy or what they think other people want from them, like deciding whether or not to have children or like what career you're going to do, who you're going to marry, everything. So it's so true. That's something we so wanted to explore. But the hair cutting, so it's that like she's at her emotional low, and instead of trying to repair the relationship, trying to like do any inner work on like why did I do this and why am I in this situation, the first thing she does is go to change her hair. It's like the first thing, like work on her exterior. And that is also a thing that happens in our culture a lot. Like any time people I feel like are going through a hard relationship thing, a hard life thing, they change their hair.
Totally.
Like,
No, absolutely. I've noticed that too.
it's like such a real thing. And
what is that? I wonder.
I don't know.
It's
and
like I want to color my hair now that we've broken up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it even goes farther into like plastic surgery. And like I feel like
Guilty.
I
No.
need bigger boobs. Yeah, a new nose, whatever it is. And so that's kind of what we wanted to touch on, that it's like, well, you're like emotionally in your worst place, it's like the pain is coming out of the hair because like that's what you've chosen to focus on.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
love that. I
yeah.
didn't know that makes so much sense. I didn't know if it meant like, oh, this is like the clue in that we're like not human or whatever, because it almost seems like were they not, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a fair analysis as well.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like that.
Well, and then I was like, oh, was that like the small hint? Because, it was just such a weird, interesting world that.
Yeah.
Another thing is, I didn't think about this while I was watching it, but like, what was something that you guys did early on to set up? Did you have a specific thing that set up like, okay, this is like what the world is going to be like. This is what's making it okay. I didn't think about that until like on my way here.
That really developed
like that sets
over
up
time.
the rules sort of thing.
Yeah.
I guess I correct me if I'm like not interpreting the question correctly, but I think we wanted to do the baby giveaway at the very top of the movie, where if you haven't seen it, Jill's character, the protagonist, gives Lisa her baby after Lisa says, oh, she's so cute, I love her, and Jill thinking, well, this will make Lisa happy and this is what she wants of me right now. It gives her her baby kind of, spontaneously, and then regrets it the rest of the movie and tries to get it back. And we wanted to, like, just hit people with that up top, I think, to show that this is a satire, this is a surreal world, this is like has heightened things. But it was important to us that this was a world where people did seemingly random things, but then had to live with the circumstances of them.
Yeah.
And so you live with that choice Jill made the whole movie, and it is treated with very dramatic stakes.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. 'Cause, I know the whole time I'm like, give it back. Why won't you give it back?
Yeah.
Now you have the soccer ball. Like, can't you surely give it back?
Yes.
Oh, Lisa's
I know.
greedy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was I met Jocelyn like last week, and I told her one of my favorite scenes was on the patio with Mary Holland. Just like I thought that was such an interesting moment, and every character just an actor just brought so many like interesting like moments, and yeah, there's so many moments like you guys just like a million moments in every scene.
So nice.
Yeah.
Really
Mary
nice.
Holland is such a gift to work with. But we had so many actors that they really did such a great job of existing within the world of our movie, which is a very specific thing, and yet being able to find little moments to improvise and add things, even things that aren't lines, but these incredible reactions, that sort of thing. And I want to credit our editor too, Taylor Giannotis, who was able to mine the footage for those great, unique things. And we all three had so much fun working on pulling those moments out of the edit.
Yeah, was that something that you like discussed in casting, or you just kind of let people do their thing and then you found who like specifically got what you were going for? And then what was it like how did you communicate like certain stuff for the characters when you were directing them?
You know, I feel like a lot of our larger roles we did direct offers for. So we weren't able to do auditions and things. And what we were really looking for in the actors were people who obviously are like great with comedy, but most importantly, we wanted comedians that were very grounded, dramatic actors, because we just knew that this story would not work if the actors weren't able to deliver the stakes of it. And have it feel emotionally grounded, because if everything just seems like silly and over the top, you don't care about anything and you are bored. We're like, we can't have that happen.
Just like play it like super straight, essentially, or not straight, but play it real.
Like these things are real to these people.
Yeah.
Like even if it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
What was it like directing together? What were like the parts of it that were hard, and then when you guys were in a scene together, how did that work?
It was nice in that like Jocelyn and I had worked together, you know, a handful of time, a lot over the last few years, that, you know, that where we acted in projects that we were that we had written and then, you know, later directed, that I think it's so funny. So many of our like the times where we were kind of like debating something and going back and forth happen in the writing process. And I think we did a gazillion rewrites of this script. I want to say like 21 page one rewrites. And really, really like in doing all that rewriting, we so understood how we wanted these characters played. We understood the intentions behind everything, that I think in disagreements we had, we like came to a consensus to and figured out in the writing stage for the most part that and also when we're writing, we like really think about the edit. So we think about exactly what coverage we need, what you see when, what the frame looks like. And then so when it came time to be working with our department heads and shot listing with our DP, we were just so on the same page because we had done so much in the writing process already, having these discussions. And it's having come from acting first, having worked with directing teams, we're so, I think, aware of being a unified front with department heads, with actors, that we kind of we relied on playback a lot, and we would like watch playback on, you know, an early take and like really check in with each other, and then one of us would give actors notes so they weren't hearing two different things.
That's a good idea to discuss that. Like, did you discuss that ahead of time? So it's not going to be...
Yeah, it will be like, Jocelyn, you go talk to the actors, I'll go talk to Art about the adjustments we want to make. And, you know, that would switch scene to scene, who would talk to who. But...
It all just kind of happens really naturally.
Yeah.
But I just think, like, directing together in so many ways seems so efficient to me too. It's like I feel like as a director you can sometimes, or I at least can get stuck in these like wheels turning of like, is this right? No. And we very much can like talk things out together. Yeah, no, this thing, no. Yeah, okay. And it's like, it just like makes everything, I don't know, move faster. But it's because we work really well together, which I think is unique.
Yeah,
Sure.
because like I had like a writing partner who we made like a couple of like sketches together. We wrote and directed them, started them together. We wrote like 3 pilots together.
Wow.
And then we ended up getting into like a fight. And we didn't talk for like 8 months. Like she was supposed to be one of my bridesmaids, and I told her she's not being one anymore, which was bitchy. But like, I think it's because we were so enmeshed. And so I was just kind of wondering how you guys, and I'm not trying to like create like drama or anything or an uncomfortable question, but like, you know, we were also like best friends in real life too, and we like hung out together in like every aspect. So I think like, you know, eventually like we just got in a fight and then we didn't talk for a while, but now we are like writing back together and we're like, oh my god, we write so well together.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. How do you guys like work on, I don't know, do you guys like avoid enmeshment sort of things in other areas, or like with your communication, and like how you guys have grown to working together like so closely in so many areas?
Yeah, I think that's something we're very conscious of, and I think it helps that the basis of our relationship is working together. So like I said, we were on that sketch team together for a long time, and we first became friends like just hanging out with the two of us in our LA fitness days. And at that time we then quickly started working, or somewhat quickly started working together again. But something we are really conscious of is we have business hours like, you know, any job. Like we meet at 8 in the morning and work until 5 with a 1 hour lunch. And we started doing that very early on. And I think
sorry. I just want to quickly interrupt. Did you guys learn that from somewhere?
That's such a
David Wayne said the same exact thing. I had him on.
Really?
I'm obsessed with him. And I never heard anyone else say that. And he was like, when he meets and writes with like Ken Marino or someone, that they like do like normal business hours. They do an hour for lunch. And they like will order lunch into like a writer's room. Yeah. So just
I think lots of different teams work together differently. And for some people it's like splitting up the work and writing separately, and I think that is like works really well for some people. But for the way we work together, it's really, we write only when we're together and talking and like riffing. That it just like, I think we had to set like hours kind of, so we knew like,
and it takes long.
Yeah, it takes forever. And so just like out of respect for each other's time, we're like, these are the hours we work. And
it helps too, because I feel like before we did have set hours, we would talk a lot about like our personal lives, and then we'd be like, we should write, and then it's like, it's hard, but we very much then started to be like, okay, we have half an hour in the morning where we're having coffee, catching up on emails, and talking about personal life stuff. We can talk over lunch, but then it's like we really keep it focused. And now we should probably also talk about deep work. Yes, so we do something called deep work, which like changed our lives.
Oh my god, what is it?
I need to figure out who invented this, because I heard about it on NPR one day.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yes, okay. So it's such a simple concept, really, but yes, I'm gonna credit a random person who was on NPR with it. The idea is basically that you set an amount of time. So we always do an hour and a half. And you unplug. So we truly like set a timer on our phones for an hour and a half, and we turn off all of our email notifications, our text messages. Like, you're not allowed to look at either of those things. And then you have to write during that time. And then when the timer goes off, you can have a snack.
Really? And is it designed like that to have a snack? Okay.
We did.
It's the way we're
It's like a reward system. sort of thing.
And truly just because otherwise we would be like, we need a seltzer break. We need this, like
I'm
that.
gonna go to the bathroom and then come back 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
So you don't even go to the bathroom?
I mean, if there's an emergency.
we do something.
Yeah, but it's like a specific focus.
If we have to go to the bathroom, we do something we call deep pee.
Where you
Really?
can't look at your phone or email.
Yeah, you can't check your
I
text
like
messages.
that.
Yeah. But that is so beneficial because I'll also, like, we talk about this too, that like often when we're about to start deep work, especially right now we're writing our new movie, so it's like it can be hard because we're hashing out so much. Like I see that on the clock, it's like almost 8:30. We're about to start deep work, and I have that feeling like when you're waiting in line for a roller coaster and you're looking at it and you're like, why am I doing this? Like it's like this anticipation, like anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But then like we do it, and we kind of like. You have to just write, so we just do it because then we're like, we have to get through this hour and a half.
Yeah, and so often you're like, I don't feel like writing. I'm tired. I have a headache.
Yeah,
I
have
really
no idea.
want to check my emails because I know I have whatever. I never have important emails.
But
like,
I know what you mean.
You just aren't in the mood, and it's our system of like working, and after 10 minutes usually it's not that hard or terrible to be writing.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
because I can now I'm pretty good about focusing. Earlier on
good.
it was like definitely a lot harder for me. You know, I'd get caught up in like the personal conversations and stuff, but yeah, that's like such a good trick if you're like just in general, but like if you're just kind of like a little bit unfocused.
Yeah, it's
what
really
else
helpful.
do you? So is that like your number one focus, sort of?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And then we're very into lists. Like we make to-do lists, and we love checking things off.
Yeah. And I think too, because of course you always have emails that build up and you need a couple hours a day usually to devote to that. But we know we're better at writing and more focused in the morning. And by the time like 3 o'clock rolls around, writing becomes pretty slow. And so that's like the time 3 or 4 or whatever we have to deal with is like when we answer emails and do scheduling and stuff that doesn't take that much mental energy.
Totally. Yeah, I work the same way too.
Yeah.
And then what was I gonna say? Oh, so how many days a week, if you guys are like working on a new project, do you guys meet to write with the 8?
We're Monday through Friday.
Oh, okay, cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So you can work at each other's places.
We did for a long time, and then I moved downtown, and Dawn lives in the hills. Actually, it really started though when Dawn splits her time between LA and Seattle, and we started FaceTiming. And so like my setup is like I have my laptop and like the iPad with Dawn's big face right there, and you do the same, right? iPad, laptop.
Oh, that's so fun.
And
do you use like Duet or something?
And Writer's Duet,
and
Google Docs.
Yeah. And we found we were as productive, if not more productive, working that way, because there's something about when someone's face is right there and you're just working and you're not like, I don't know.
It feels weirder.
It feels strange to like randomly just start gossiping.
Yeah.
On FaceTime when you're working. I don't know why.
And so your breaks are really nice because like we'll often do like a 15-minute break, and it's like you can start your laundry, you can like do, and it like, and you don't have that like 45-minute commute too. So we're able to start at 8 o'clock, which like we really like starting early like that. And just little things.
Yeah, that's a good idea about the FaceTiming, because like I specifically work better if I'm with someone in person. So I think the FaceTime is like a good element, because just writing back and forth and sending it just like doesn't, the whole like riffing off and bouncing off like an actual person, I feel like makes such a difference for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I'm learning so many good tips.
Also a funny thing too is like we are riffing together so much when we're writing, so it's really nice to be looking at each other. But like when we're both on our laptops, we both always are looking at the screen. Then you're not like looking at each other. And I feel like sometimes like better comedy happens when like Dawn's right there and we're like writing and like I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when we are in person together, I'm kind of like, oh, hi. Like, looking at her. Anyway, we like FaceTime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
it
you
works for us.
both happen to have incredible fashion sense?
I'm gonna say Jocelyn's fashion sense is better than
no,
mine.
and I would say we're not, like, I would say we definitely were leaning into it more, more recently. But we both
Yeah.
are very into, like, aesthetics, and it's, like,
Yeah.
it's fun for us. But
Where
I
do you
would,
go-
I think
yeah.
too sometimes that like when going to these film festivals and like doing all these Q&As and stuff, you feel all of it sometimes feels a little ridiculous, or like I start to feel a little pretentious or something. And something about like wearing like fun, like a little wild matching costumes,
Yeah.
outfits, it makes it feel like more fun and more
Like refreshing.
yeah.
Yeah, like there will be mornings. We were on the road like almost all of last year, and it's
All
also
over the world.
yeah, all over the world, and it was so cool, but exhausting. And there would be mornings where we would be like, in our joggers or whatever, and like, how are we going to do 3 interviews this afternoon and then a Q&A? And
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
it's draining, right?
It's
How do
really
you guys
draining.
keep your energy going for
Well,
that?
I think like when we put on our glitter eyeshadow and our costume, it's like something about it is like all of a sudden we're like more ready to go do things. I can't explain, because I think you have to bring less energy sometimes the more bright your outfit is, because people are just like, hey.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We found that we liked doing that, but
Yeah.
we love fashion. We're having fun.
Yeah. Where do you guys shop? In
It's-
LA. so
Well,
can go.
I feel like we just have to credit our stylist, or we're monsters.
Yeah.
We have a stylist named Jordan Grossman.
Wow.
And she's spectacular. She works with this really huge stylist who does like Kate Blanchett, Julia Roberts, and they work really closely together. But I think we're one of her first like very regular clients and so she has all these great connections to fashion houses and the most amazing shoe collection you've ever seen, and then we get to kind of benefit off of it. And I don't know, we just like can't say enough good things about Jordan.
Yeah, all of your outfits and any photo I've ever seen, they're just like amazing. Is that all
thank
from?
you.
Is all of that from a stylist?
Yeah,
Because that would make me feel better.
a lot of it.
You know
It
what I
is,
mean?
yeah. A lot of it
Your
is vintage.
outfit at the
yeah.
party was so cute. Was that from a
Oh,
stylist?
thank you. No,
I was like, where are they shopping?
that was part of my Halloween costume, actually.
Really? What was that costume?
I was Elizabeth Holmes. I was like wearing my black
Oh.
turtleneck.
Yeah, but then you put
Um,
like a jumper on.
Yeah, that's just from Nordstrom's.
And
yeah.
then when you said you guys were both in your joggers, I'm assuming
Oh,
a
yeah.
tracksuit,
like
like sweatpants
just
and
like-
sweatshirts, like matching outfits. Like,
Oh,
I'm just-
oh
like-
no, no, no! I meant like
glorified pajamas.
yes, pajamas.
Oh, but you
Why
said
did
it
I
in
say
such
joggers?
Well, it sounded
It
so
sounded
cute.
cool, like
It
very
sounded
British
yes.
or something.
Yes, and then I was like, oh my god, they have like really cool like sweatsuits. I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh, I wish we did. Yeah,
Wow.
we need to get those.
I know.
Yeah. But I have to credit Don's husband so he works in the tech world and is really good at like brands and marketing. And when we were getting ready to go to Sundance, we basically turned in the edit of Greener Grass on a Tuesday and it premiered on a Friday.
what?
And
Wait,
so
so then what happened with the like? How does it work with the submission? Can you change
we
it? afterwards?
submitted a rough cut. Yeah.
Oh, you're allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
We changed it so much. We
Yeah.
were laughing that nobody screened it. Like nobody like made sure it should show at Sundance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
they
was
did and we don't know.
So
20
were you
minutes
really
shorter. It
nervous?
was- yeah.
We were really nervous, really tired. We were working like I want to say like 22 hours a day. It was so stupid. But
Insane,
like we
yeah.
were not ready to go to Sundance. Our movie
Yeah.
wasn't done. And Jeff, Don's husband, was like, you guys like leave the sound mix. Like you need to start thinking about what you're going to wear to Sundance. And we were like,
Said that?
yes.
Yeah,
And
he
we
was
said
like,
no.
You are there, like you
Yeah.
guys are a brand. You are there to like sell. This sounds crazy, but sell
No,
yourselves as
but
much
it's
as you are
true.
there to sell your movie.
Yes.
And we were like very resistant to it because we had no time and we were like, no. But then also it was appealing because we had no time to even put together outfits. So he basically had Jordan, our stylist, like come and measure us while we were like in the edit and working. And so that was like, and then we had such good outfits at Sundance that then we were like, we have to keep doing this.
No, that's such a good idea too. It
It's
really
funny
is.
too. Like our international sales agent. Maybe this is embarrassing to say, but
I want to know
he,
It's interesting.
yeah, they're this company based in France. But anyway, he would take pictures of us from different festivals in our like crazy outfits, and he would like make newsletters to send around to other festivals and distributors. And then we just got invited to so many festivals because it's kind of like you're gonna get a show if these girls come and do a Q&A.
Wow, that's such a good idea.
It was so weird how it all happened.
That's
like,
so many good ideas. No,
It's
but like
so
even
funny.
saying like with the flyers and stuff, like I never so people gave you those. Or you-
We've actually never seen them. Oh, you mean
Oh,
the
no,
flyers
like I'm
for our
sorry.
short
Was that
films?
like someone just like all the marketing,
oh yeah,
extra marketing like things that you're doing, like the branding, like all of it just
we
like
like
adds
made
up.
those on Shutterfly or something back in the day of our short films.
Yeah, and I think with a short at a festival, you're usually like one of 60 plus shorts or one of 100 short films. And we're like, well, how do we get people
Stand
to come
out,
to our
yeah.
shorts block number 4 versus
Yeah.
shorts block number 2?
Yeah.
And so you just, I feel like, have to, or we felt we had to like really get in front of people and invite them to. And I think it kind of comes also from a background in like doing theater and comedy in New York, where you're like constantly trying to get. It's not like out of my comfort zone necessarily to like ask every person to like come and see my show.
Yeah, so would you, because like I went to Sundance just with like a guy I was dating. So he was a studio executive. So I kind of got to see like what, those. So did you guys just go to like all the different parties and just go up to people and just kind of like network super hard in
It
the
was, like,
non-grossest way?
Never at Sundance.
And what's like the coolest way to
Yeah.
do it where you can network and not be gross?
Yes,
If you know what I mean by that.
I
Yeah.
love that you're saying that because I'm even like listening to us and I'm like people should be careful because it is a really dorky thing to do.
Yes, so dorky. In
But
fact,
it's-
we
but you
were
have
asking
to.
our sales agent before we went
Yes.
to Sundance, should we have postcards? And they were like,
Absolutely
no.
not.
Yeah.
That is not cool. Do not do that.
But I think as Don was saying, it is a difference with short films because
Yeah.
you're also a lot of times you're paying to go to the festivals. You paid like $80 to submit, and then you're like sharing a full size bed in a motel, and it's like you're there because you want to be there and you're making it happen. But it's not worthwhile for you to be there if no one is at your screening. Like if you go there and it's like you and the other filmmakers at the screening, and if you don't meet anyone. And so for us, it's like it's almost a social lubricant in that we would have a cool image on our postcard, and then we could kind of be like, oh, are you guys filmmakers? We have a film. And it's a way to go up and talk to someone. But then really quickly, we always try to not talk about the films and then be
Yeah.
like, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. But I would say I would never do this if I didn't have my friend Dawn with me.
Yes, it
Like,
sounds terrifying.
It helps
do.
to have another girl and not some guy dragging you down.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like a boyfriend who's like,
Yeah.
why do you have to...
We're like two like extremely tall, brightly dressed women like
Yeah,
walking around
That's
like
fun.
And if we
Yeah.
go up to someone and have an awkward interaction, we can just laugh about it afterwards and be like, oh, that was strange.
yes.
And, move on. Whereas nothing is worse if you're by yourself and you're like, come see my
Yeah.
film. Or I so admire the people that can do that.
Yeah.
I wish it was a skill I had alone.
But I'm not kidding. Like we've kept in touch with these people that we like bring postcards to. Like I was thinking, our first film festival friend Einar Baldwin is this animator we met in France. Like the first person we gave a postcard to, and he just did the animation sequence in Greener Grass. Like it was like
Oh, cool.
just because we like met him at that party and I'd kept in touch with him. But there's many examples of that. So.
Yeah, when you meet these people and then like follow up with them just to like stay in the loop, what do you think think is like a good email for someone to just like
I always
check in
think
with people?
something that doesn't include like a complicated response from them. Like I think congratulations emails are really good because like you don't need to respond to those, but it's like, oh, I saw you have a new short that got into South by. Just shooting a message like can't wait to see it. Congratulations, and we get those emails from people, and I'm like, this is brilliant. Like
yeah, because then you can write back and be like, how are you? Or just be like, oh, that was nice.
If it's like a 4-paragraph email where they've included links to the shorts they've just done and attached a screenplay.
Yeah, it's like,
because then you feel like you can't respond in a fast way.
Yeah. So something quick like that, and also like a nice to meet you, like right after you guys met each other, like so fun chatting with you. Like now you have my email. Is really good. Like if anything I can write back and be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. Like anything simple, I feel like.
And this is like something that's definitely more for like, I'd say like film students versus like peers and stuff. But when people are like, reach out and are like, I will PA on your next film, or I would love to be an art PA, or it's like if they have a specific request or something, also that's so flattering when someone says that.
Like, but we do like keep those names and plan on working with those people. We're like, yes, thank you.
When you guys first saw like the cut so then you actually, well, I guess you saw what you sent off to Sundance obviously beforehand, but like was the experience of watching it in the theater with everyone like a really like magical, like what were some of like the really big moments for you guys like looking back on when it like came out, like the pinch me or like the pinch me moment sort of thing?
I would say the Sundance premiere was a little traumatic.
Oh really? In what way?
We just had never seen the movie with an audience before, and it didn't feel done to us. We like had to rush to finish it, and
we edited our movie for another 2 months after Sundance.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We cut out like almost 7 minutes, and so that, but it still felt like pinch me.
Yeah. And I would say, like, I felt for our premiere at Sundance completely numb, almost, like, in another world. And then after that, our other screenings at Sundance, I felt like much more relaxed and, like, could kind of have more fun. Because we had had that initial, like, shock of, like, okay, this is the movie playing. And,
Our movie is, like... we're so lucky because it's a comedy that, like, when you screen it with people... they laugh, and that is like such a pinch me moment. It's like we like have sat in screenings just like holding each other and like shaking because it's like you hear laughter around you, you hear like gasps, you hear this and that, and it's like so weird that it's like you're like that all came out of your brains, and then it's like they think it's funny. It's magical.
Yeah, and then you guys went to South by after that?
Yeah, that was so cool. Yeah. It felt great to be at South by because our short had won a jury award there.
Oh, cool.
And we feel like that kind of put us, like, it really helped us. And so we were like, oh, it feels like being back home at that, you know, we tried to keep Austin weird, so
I noticed you guys have been nominated and have won a bunch of awards, including just being nominated for a Spirit Award.
Thank you.
I just saw that today. That's so exciting.
We are floored by that. We had no awards budget whatsoever.
Is that a thing, awards budget?
Yeah.
Wait, what is that?
I think people like send out screeners or, you know, hold special screenings for, you know.
Yeah. You do like marketing.
So it just happened on its own?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're so happy.
I was in Seattle, where I spend some time, as Jocelyn mentioned. That doesn't relate to this at all. But I had this text message from one of our publicists that said, congratulations, in all caps. And I was like, I wonder what this is. And I like quickly Googled greener grass and our names, and nothing seemed to come up right at the beginning. So we like don't read any reviews. We don't like look ourselves up usually. So I like didn't want to dig into it at all. So I just like wrote back, oh, I think you might have the wrong number.
That is so fucking funny.
I was just like, I don't think there's anything that's happened. And she was like, check your email.
You didn't check the email
Well,
first.
I did, but it hadn't like refreshed.
Yeah.
And
That is
we
so
had been,
funny.
nominated, which was, of course,
That was so funny.
so exciting, but a surprise.
I know.
That's so exciting.
I know.
I noticed that you guys don't really post a lot on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're not wrong.
But I'm really impressed by that. So,
Oh.
yeah, how do you guys, and then even just saying you don't read the comments, was
Yeah.
that, so talk to me about like all of that, because I feel like they're sort of related and not, but they are.
Yeah.
Or just what all of that means to you.
Yeah, I know. I feel like not reading reviews is something that I picked up from a friend of mine who acts on television and got on a show and started reading comments and reviews. I found it very emotionally traumatic and then stopped and was like, I don't want anyone in my family to read them. I don't want my close friends to read them, like nothing. And so I kind of had that in my head as like a self-care thing.
Yeah.
And then we talked about it, and also like what was so important to us, it always is like protecting our voice, like protecting our tone and voice as writers.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like sitting there writing our next movie being like, well, people really say like there's, too much pink in this movie, so let's not have pink anymore.
Yeah.
And like just don't want to be informed by
Influence.
that.
Yeah.
I think we got to a place with our movie that we felt good about it and like proud that like that we were telling the story we wanted to tell in the way we wanted to tell it, and like we were on the same page about that, and like the collaborators we worked with also were in that, and then we were done. And like I don't think there's anything you can really do with that information. Like if you read a great review, I guess like you can feel good. If you read a bad review, you can feel bad, but I think it's just like for us, I was like, well, we don't need this information.
It's like your brain can't process it as a human. I feel like it's like what takes someone a second to be like, oh, she's boring or something, like
you're a
will
fucking
affect you
loser.
forever.
I know.
Like,
I'm still thinking about YouTube comments from like a stand-up video that like, like the Laugh Factory posts like stand-up videos, and they get like a lot of stuff, and I'm like, are my hips weird? I didn't know my hips were weird.
Yes,
Like,
you
You
can't.
don't need to be at the mercy of strangers.
They don't.
There's no reason to
Was
be.
that learned or just like off the top? Like
I
you
think
guys
from
were
watching our friends go through it.
In doing those off Broadway plays that Joe's blog post would review.
Yeah.
Like back when I did theater, I'm like, I just will not read reviews. I never read like YouTube comments. I'm like, this will hurt my feelings or give me a false sense of achievement or something. Like I'm like, it's not good for my like mental stability.
Yeah, that's so healthy.
Yeah.
And then for the social media,
I feel like I think it just takes us too long. We're not like I think like it's still, we're like from a like we're Midwestern, where like I feel like our generation, like we would all put like printed photos in our lockers, but it would be the weirdest thing ever if you put a picture of yourself in your locker. Like, can you imagine? It was always like, this is a pretty picture of me, and good thing like 4 other girls are in it. Like there, you know what I mean? But like no judgment. We have so many good friends who post selfies every day and blah, blah, blah. I think for us, it's just not like that natural, but we do think there's value in doing it, and we love other people's social media. And so I think we try to do it as much as we can, but it doesn't happen very often because it's not like second nature or something.
Yeah. So you don't get stuck, or do you get stuck in like compare and despair? Because a lot of people from social media get stuck in like, oh, like, with their peers, like, oh, they got that, they're doing that. Like, it seems like you're really good at staying in your own lane.
Oh, that's such a nice comment. I think I do feel like we're pretty good at staying in our own lane. I feel like we do get honestly, like, inspired, like a healthy competition, like I was saying about the 2 girls who had the web series. That happens all the time, that we're like, oh, this person is doing this. Like, what is that? Let's look it up. And like that kind of way. But I do feel like maybe it helps that we're like just kind of weird or something. And like, I don't feel like we're in such direct competition.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you have your own thing going.
Yeah.
Like why would I compare mine to that person's thing?
This is like so funny, but I do always think of this, that when I was growing up, that my mom was like very big on this, that like not comparing yourselves. And she used to be a competitive swimmer. I know. And she was like, when you're like doing like swimming races, if you take like a millisecond to just look where like the people are that you're competing against, it will slow you down. Like the fastest way to go is like just forward. And it's funny because like I have like very impressive sisters. Like I'm a middle child, and my older sister is like this oncologist, like great this, and my younger sister's an author, and like but we're all doing very different things. But people ask us like, do you guys like, are you so competitive with each other? And I really am like, no, I don't think so. Which is lucky.
Yeah,
and good.
it is.
But I wonder if it's because my mom drilling that into us. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think the same. I just like when I see someone in our community like, you know, get an overall deal at HBO or whatever, you know, sell a movie, I just think there's room for a lot of people to do
also,
to get those deals, to get movies, like, and I'm like genuinely like, cool, I bet their movie is so different from the movie we're writing. And like, I bet it is. It's not like, well, that theirs is probably better, or like, why didn't we sell? It's like, I think we like are pursuing what we're pursuing, and like they're pursuing what they're pursuing,
and also it's like such a team sport, and we're all like so much like everyone is kind of like rising together, so to speak. And our movie is filled with our UCB friends. We, you know, started directing for television because of our friends got a show. You know, it was like very much
so cool.
like that happens all the time. So you want everyone to be doing well, because like you're all going to be working together.
Like we always want to hire our friends, and they often want to hire us, and that's great.
Yeah. And then just to wrap up, what do you do, if any, like daily mental health sort of things or self-care stuff?
I started this isn't that profound. I've started going on an like hour-long walk in the morning, and it just for me is the like nothing makes me feel more like ready to sit down. And I think because we sit all day working, it's just like that is like the time when I'm like alone and in nature, as much as you can be in nature in LA. And that's like helped a lot with in terms of anxiety and just calmness in my life.
Yeah.
So good.
Spiritual too.
Yeah.
Like being in nature and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like what comes to mind is I've been trying to have dinner with my boyfriend, who I live with, at the table without phones or screens. And that's like something like newer that we've been doing. But in the same way, I'm like, that it's such a nice thing at the end of the day to be like talking about your days, like reflection kind of with someone else who you don't work with, who's not like wrapped up in anything. That I'm like, that has been a nice thing lately. But I feel like the first thing that came to mind is I stopped like looking at my phone at all in bed. Like I think a few years ago.
Wow.
And I'll like look at it in the bathroom the whole time I'm brushing my teeth, everything. But then I can't be in my bed and look at my phone.
Yeah, so you have like a real alarm.
Yeah. Oh no, I have my phone alarm. It's on my bedside
on
table,
airplane
I should
mode.
say.
But you're good at like, you know, like that thing of just like not
Yeah.
picking it up and be like, no, I don't need it. Like detaching from it. Essentially.
Yeah, I guess I'm not like so disciplined, but it's just like I used to sit and scroll and shop and everything in my bed. But now I'm trying to be like, you can do that, but not in the bed.
Yeah,
I
that's a
want
good
to do
tip.
that. I feel like there's
Yeah.
nothing that I need to do at,
Yeah.
like between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. Like
Yeah.
no one is expecting a response. Like
Yeah.
if
But I
there is
really-
an emergency,
yeah.
people will like, you know, call a couple times, or maybe I'll just hear in the morning.
Yeah.
Like,
But I'll just never go to sleep if I have my phone. I will shop for shoes forever.
And then like your favorite way to like decompress after a long work day, or just
Is it bad and unhealthy that mine is like eating?
No.
Like
Yes,
I love
I was
having,
just
like,
gonna say
a
eating.
Yeah.
like eating something delicious.
Yeah.
Even if it, like I don't know, a dinner
Yeah.
or like an ice cream bar. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I just get a lot of satisfaction from that. I need to keep walking an hour in
No,
the morning.
No, I am
Yeah,
too.
it's
I'm like
so nice.
obsessed
So
with food. I
motivated
love
by that reward.
I love watching TV. Like, I love just sitting on the couch and watching TV. And that helps me feel like then you can stop thinking about your own stuff, kind of.
Yeah, it's hard to like shut off your head after
Yeah.
like working or focusing on something
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Shout out like your social, website, where to watch your movie, where to watch your shorts, whatever you guys want to promote.
Totally.
And so excited for to see what you guys are writing next.
Oh, thank you, Chelsea. And we're excited to see what you're working on, too.
Yes, very excited.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Jocelyn DeBoer. I perform at the UCB out here every Tuesday night with Search History at 9:30 on Tuesdays. And the social for our movie is the website, greenergrassmovie.com. And yeah, Instagram is the best way to reach both of us. We're getting rid of Facebook. And
Yes, and you will see our very sporadic posts.
yes, yes.
Yeah, and Jocelyn's just Jocelyn DeBoer. I'm Dawn Luebbe,
Mhm.
are our handles. And yeah, our movie Greener Grass is on VOD right now, and you can go to the website and purchase it if you want. And then it'll be streaming later in the year, or early next year. rather.
First on Hulu and then eventually.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it popped. I have Amazon Fire Stick, so it like popped
Yeah.
right up, and I was
Oh,
like,
that's so
yes,
nice.
because I had seen the
Cool.
trailer. Mike is also my husband's manager,
Oh,
so
right,
he
right.
originally had posted it right after he met you guys, I think at South by.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, I have to see that movie. And I could not wait. And then I remembered like when it was going to come out and I saw it and I was like, yes. And like,
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah. So it's on there too if you guys have. I guess that's what you
Oh,
already
thank
said.
you. Yeah,
Anyways,
no, that's great.
cool. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Oh, Chelsea, that